Hi, welcome back to Faith and Conviction, and I'm your host, Ray Harris, and we're going to discuss this week's Torah portion. And it comes from Genesis 18, verse 1 through Genesis 22, verse 24. And the title of that in the Hebrew, I think I'm saying this correctly, is Vayera. So it's very important that we see this key word and understand a little bit what it means. So Vayera means he appeared. Why do we look at these things in the books of Moses? Why do we spend time wanting to know what is being said here in the books of Moses? Well, what we want to be able to do is see how Moses and the Messiah tie together. To see the teachings of Moses, to see the teachings of Messiah, to see the power of Moses, to see the power of Messiah, and that they work hand in glove. So this is very interesting, and I think you can be able to see this as we go through it today. So Vayera means he appeared. Now, the Strong's number on that is H7200. H7200. Now, that's a very interesting word, and if I'm saying it correctly, it's ra'ah, which means a whole bunch of things about perception and to see. To see, to look at, to inspect, to perceive. Things like you might want to do is consider. Now, I get these definitions out of Brown Driver Briggs. They have a tremendous list there of what this Hebrew word insinuates in the English. But it also means to appear, like to present oneself, to be seen, to be visible, to cause to look at intently, and also things like to look at each other. Now this is very interesting when we look at this portion right here in Genesis. And it says, and the Lord appeared. So what is going on with Abraham at this point? How are things going on in this section? Now, most of the time, the King James translators translate this Hebrew word as a variant of see, like the word see itself, or saw being see in the past tense, or seen, which is another variation of past tense, but also look, or looked, or behold. So there was only 3 times that I could find that it uses the word appear in the King James. Appear, appeared, appeareth. But those are very few compared to the number of times that the King James translates it like the word see, like I'm looking at something right over there in the distance, instead of appeared like boom, I'm right here in front of you. But yet somehow when you read Genesis chapter 12 and verse 7, the Lord appeared to Abram, and Abraham experienced that, and Abraham experiences it here in chapter 18. And you go on down and you can see that an angel of the Lord appeared unto Moses in the burning bush in Exodus 3 and verse 2, if my memory serves. But also when you go down into Deuteronomy 31 and verse 15, when God has asked Moses to bring Joshua, both Moses and Joshua see that the Lord has appeared. Now, what does it mean that he appeared? There are so many things that happen with this word and give us new meaning to this moment. Now, as I'm fond of sharing that I like the Greek translation of the Old Testament, that it helps us understand the Greek of the New Testament. And I find it very powerful that the translators back in the day before Jesus walked the earth translated this Hebrew word, this H7200, this ra'ah, by the Greek word hora, which is G3708, 3708. Now what's interesting about that is that Greek word means to see. And the book of John uses this a tremendous amount, and he goes through here, see this and seen that. So consider just a couple of passages from the book of John, because they really caught my attention. In John chapter 3 and verse 11, Jesus is talking to Nicodemus, and Jesus says unto him, at least in the English, says, verily, verily, or truly, truly, I say unto you, Nicodemus, we speak that we do know, and we testify that we have seen. And that seen is that Greek word hora, which is G3708, which is the word that's used to translate the Hebrew word back there in Genesis. So the being able to see, but also being able to testify about what you see. This is what Jesus is teaching him. The testimony becomes more powerful when you have seen something. So it seems like one really only has the power to teach and share what one knows when they've seen it, when they know what they saw, when they saw it, and in their very core, they know what is happening. Now, what's interesting is when you come down into John chapter 20, there's this little incident with Thomas. And we have in verse 25, it says here, the other disciples said unto Thomas, we have seen. Seen. So they saw it with their eyes. They beheld it. They could testify to the power. And Thomas goes, not until I see it will I believe it. So Jesus appears to Thomas and says, Thomas, because you have seen, you believe. So there's a power that goes with the ability to see something, just like you see these plants behind me. You see it, you know it, you recognize it. But it's another thing to have somebody say, yeah, there were plants behind Ray while he was doing that. And then they believe you. So it's very interesting that Jesus says to them that those who believe but have not seen are blessed. So we're blessed either way. But it is powerful when you have seen it with your own eyes. You've been able to touch it and handle it. And you've been able to touch the Creator. So maybe it takes a little stronger trust to believe without seeing. But there are times, as the Scripture shows that God will appear, and there are times that He will not. But these are the connection points between Moses and Messiah. The teachings of Moses and the teachings of Messiah. The power of Moses and the power of Messiah. Telling us both to reach forward to God, to look for His appearing, and that we can see it and we can believe it. We can trust it with our very essence. So until next time, continue to seek God, know Messiah, find hope. Hi, for those of you who've hung past the credits, I want to give a little something for me in my mispronunciation. I know that I look at how to pronounce Greek and I try to pronounce Hebrew the right way, but I really messed up on my Greek. So the proper spelling for that Greek word is Omicron, Rho, Alpha, Omega. Now the Omicron has a rough breather on it. The way I should have pronounced it is more like Ha-Ra-O. But I didn't, but I caught it, so I'm adding this to the end of the video. So if you get to watch past the credits, there you go. I hope everything's good. Talk to you later.